105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
All right, let's go. It's 8:07. It's O'Connor and Company. I'm still broken up over Nicolas Cage and National Treasure 3 not happening.
You kind of have a Nicolas Cage look. Have they told you that before?
No. And honestly, I'm not sure how to take it. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Mercedes Schlapp coming up in 30 minutes. Todd Bensman.
I think he's awesome.
Center for Immigration Studies. But here we go. It's going to be the Cuban segment, Mercedes. I need you to sort of not walk down memory lane with all your, all the Cubanness that you have in common. But Jason Miyares, the Attorney General of Virginia, joins us now. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Attorney General.
That was great.
Well, I just know how you guys get. You start talking about how you like your coffee, and then there's just no end to it. So
yes. That's one of the great challenges. You can go to Miami and you can get, you can actually find ropa vieja and you can get Cuban pastries everywhere, and it's much harder to find in Virginia in the district. It's there if you look, but it's not as easy as it is when you're in Miami. I can tell you that right now.
Mr. Attorney General, I would love to start here by having you comment on something that was said last week on MSNBC. I think that you will have a bit of a reaction to it.
I mean, if you look at some of these exit polls, I live in Virginia. Immigration was the number one issue.
Yeah.
Again, these could change in Virginia.
Well, Virginia does have a border with West Virginia.
Now, first of all, setting aside, Mr. Miyares, the fact that the real concern for Virginia is the border with Maryland, I think, not West Virginia. But secondly, I think as Attorney General, you might be able to shed some light on this and educate the women of that MSNBC panel about the very real ramifications of the border crisis in Virginia.
Yeah, that was sent to me actually on election night, and I saw the clip. And I immediately thought this is a perfect representation of how out of touch the legacy media is. This is not the number one issue of just Virginia Republican primary voters or just Republicans nationally. It's the number one issue for Americans if you look at the polling, border security. And the idea that someone could sit there, and I've said before, media bias often is what you choose to ignore. It's not just how you report the stories. It's what you choose to ignore and pretend is not happening. And as far as what MSNBC may not realize, the great irony is just a few days before they did their little banter in Campbell County, right outside Lynchburg, you had a illegal immigrant picked up on and charged with felony sexual assault of a minor. We now had outside of Bedford a child that was picked up in Ohio, and they found this child across the border into Virginia. So the stark reality is that this is the greatest national security problem of our time is our lack of border control. To put things in perspective, during the Obama administration, his Homeland Security Director said that roughly 1,000 to 1,500 crossings a day, translating to about 30,000 plus a month, referred to that as a crisis. We had 300,000 in the month of December. To put things in perspective, 30,000 was a crisis under the Obama administration. It's 10 times that right now. We have enough fentanyl crossing our southern border to kill every man, woman, and child in America 3 times over. Not even counting the human trafficking and the untold misery that is happening. And then the scariest part by far is the fact that just last year, over 150 individuals on the terrorist watch list was apprehended at the border, just the year 2023. To put things in perspective for your listeners, you want to know how many that was in 2020? 6. Oh. 6 were apprehended on the terrorist watch list in 2020. Yeah. Wow. So how many are in our homeland that we don't know where they are? Take that 150 number and quadruple it. We have hundreds of individuals. We don't know where they are. It is one of the most troubling things, and the fact that they acted so flippant about it tells you how out of touch they really are.
Just this past week, we saw Christopher Wray, the FBI director, or in the last 2 weeks, basically say that there is a major threat. They're very concerned with the major threat with those individuals coming through the border. We know that the FBI bureau in Richmond, they were the ones that famously put out that alert saying, all right, we need to go and infiltrate the Catholic churches and those
Right.
that go to Latin Mass because they're quote unquote extremists. So do you think the FBI, what can they do in cooperating with you all and obviously at the state level to ensure that these terrorist threats don't become a reality in the United States?
This is what I'd say. There is a huge disconnect between the line agents, the ones that I've interacted with, that a lot of them are patriots of their country, they're greatly concerned, and the senior leadership in Washington.
Yes.
There is a gigantic disconnect right now. It will change America overnight because warfare has changed. We have not had warfare come to our homeland. We got hit on 9/11 by far in New York and Pentagon. But as far as outside of those cities, Americans largely have been untouched. We're in a different era right now. And as has been noted, we have tens of thousands of military-age males that have come over for our country. By the way, China is a top 5. What comes across my desk consistently, China is a top 5 nationality that's crossing over the border. They have over 20% unemployment rate in China. But we don't know whether these individuals were the People's Liberation Army, whether they're sleeper cells. We have a host of individuals crossing our border. This idea that they're all coming from Mexico or Central and South America, that's simply not true. A lot of them are coming from countries, candidly, on the terrorist watch list as well, that are state sponsors of terrorists, that are coming over. They know exactly what they do. The cartels call them pollos. They tell them exactly all you need to do is tell a border guard you're seeking asylum. And this is what happens. You get a piece of paper like a traffic ticket that says, we will see you in court in 2028 or 2029. That's literally what happens. It is 83% of who's apprehended at the border are simply given the equivalent of a we'll see you in 4 or 5 years. And by the way, they have over 90% of the people given that ticket never even show up. So it is a catch and release program. The level of vulnerability we have, the idea that we have individuals on the terrorist watch list that are in the homeland, we have no idea where they are. They've come over our porous borders, and they could potentially hit soft targets is by far the most troubling thing for me. It's something that I've talked to other AGs around the country that we are, and candidly, why we're part of the litigation with Florida, suing the Biden administration, telling them to just do their job, secure the border. That's one of your first jobs as a public official is to make sure that your citizens are safe, and it is a complete dereliction of duty right now.
We're speaking with Attorney General of Virginia, Jason Miyares, and quickly in our final moments here, the General Assembly has concluded the governor is vetoing some things, considering some things, sending some things back. From your perspective, did you see anything encouraging here? Did you see things that are going to hamper your job in enforcing the laws of the Commonwealth?
Well, there's a big fight right now. The Democrats are pushing a interpretation of earned sentence credits that would allow violent criminals to get out early. And
boy, that really is a priority for them, isn't it?
That's a shock, right? It's always a criminal first, victim last mindset. They passed a rent control bill. I mean, where has rent control ever worked? But somehow these are aggressive progressives. There are a few areas we were able to find agreement, one of which was in human trafficking. We leaned really hard on that front. We got some human trafficking bills that got passed. We got more work to do. But listen, it's a very different mindset. I mean, you have a group of legislators, and many of them, they view California as the model. They view Maryland as the model. And the reality is, I was talking to an individual who does business on both sides, and they say the cost of doing business in Maryland is 30% higher than it is in Virginia, just when he crosses over the Potomac. But these are individuals that view Maryland, and they want to be aggressive, progressive. They want to fundamentally use government and the laws in Richmond to change every aspect of society, whether it's criminal justice, whether it's our labor laws, whether it's just our taxes. I mean, they sent huge tax increases to the governor that I know are going to be dead on arrival. So it's going to be an interesting spring. We'll reconvene in April for a brief session. I think there's going to be a lot of bills that are far left. They're going to get vetoed. You know, we'll see. Our governor's the power of our governor is different in Virginia. A lot of other states, the governor either has to sign, say, a bill or veto it. Our governor has the power to actually do line item vetoes or even even amendments and send it back. And so it's going to be a lot of interesting maneuvers coming up in the next couple of weeks.
It always is. That's the job you wanted. By the way, real fast, not only did your James Madison Dukes have an unbelievable just dream football season. But now the basketball team is the Cinderella pick into the March Madness tournament. Are they going to name a building after you there on campus? This all happened because you became Attorney General.
31-3. I mean, that's a great team. I'm proud of my Dukes. I'm proud that they've really made it. Just listen, for your listeners, get into a game, either football or basketball, is only about maybe an hour and 45 minutes up 6681. It's the most beautiful area of the Commonwealth, the Shenandoah Valley, but the basketball arena is beautiful. The football stadium is fun and rocking. Go to a game.
They have never had an athletic season, a Division I season like they're having right now.
Never.
It's
Never.
insanity, and Mr. Madison would
Very
be
proud of him.
certainly. Thank you, sir.
Very proud
Good
of him.
talking with you.
Thank you.
817.